What started off as a simple Follows of the Flame voyage probably turned out to be one of the best and most exciting heists of our career. Probably the best. Let's just say the best. It was hilarious. Let's find out what happened. Today's plan was to get to grade 5 on the Reaper's Emissary and to do it as fast as possible. And to do this, we needed to do the Follows of the Flame quest, which I had never done before, but luckily Duds had, so we had somebody to help me. The quest is quite simple. All you have to do is kind of find a lantern and dig up some skeletons. That's pretty much it. So finding the lantern was pretty simple. Grabbing the lantern and following the flame to those skeletons. I had no idea, to be honest, how we did this. I was kind of mindlessly following the flame and hoping that I'd come across it. Luckily, Duds kind of guided me to it, and we dug up the skeleton and revealed our first friend. He also dug up some of his own goods, which I didn't want to carry, so I gave it to him, so I didn't have to worry about it. And then we kind of just carried on digging up those skeletons, and we were going to try and get as many as we can, which I think there was 3. I think normally it's 3. I don't know. Again, I'm just guessing here because this is all new to me. So again, I dug up the final skeleton, and they were going to go guide us to this chest that we needed to put them in. However, we got ambushed, and I was like, oh, turn around. I was like, what the heck? There's like 50 of them. So we had decided to go and finish them all off. They're actually really easy. They didn't actually cause any damage. They're too busy fighting the skeletons, so I wasn't really worried about them at all. And then we continued to kind of travel down the beach and just get attacked by more and more of them. And we just defended ourselves, got them finished pretty quickly, and we dug up the chest of bones. Now, the chest of bones, what happens is that you are now going to seal those skeletons in the chest, and then you can bring them with you onto your ship. And you can actually open them up on the ship, which we did, or you can sell it. And we just opened it up on the ship so that if we got attacked, we had some defense, which is really useful, to be honest. However, but we still weren't at grade 5. So we needed to go find something else. What we needed to do is go find something a little bit better. Okay, so Duds had noticed there was a skeleton ship in the sky, so we went over and we actually went and decided to take on this battle of the Sea of Thieves. Now, sometimes they're quite difficult, but actually today it was relatively easy. It looked like somebody had already actually taken part in this already. The first galleon was actually slightly damaged, so it was actually relatively easy. Now, my top tip for galleon fighting, especially skeleton galleon fighting, is to shoot the ship quite low, and then also get on the ship and defend the ship so you can actually stop them from being able to recover. Because the skeletons will actually fix the ship, but they will only fix the bits at the bottom of the ship. They won't go any higher than the bottom tier, so you just want to keep on stopping them from being able to repair. That's as simple as that. And that's got ourselves our first bit of loot, should we say. Next up, we came across a skeleton sloop. Now, this is relatively easy. You just hit them 10 times. That's literally all you have to do. Hit them 10 times and they'll sink. Regardless if you go on the ship or not, they're very, very easy to beat. And they barely attack you, to be honest. They just kind of sail around you. Kind of a bit annoying, really. They just don't give up. But eventually, you'll just be able to just take them down with 10 shots. And once you've done that, it's kind of just a case of picking up the loot and moving on. Simple as that with skeleton sloops. They're very, very simple. And that led us on to the skeleton galleon for the final battle. And it spawned right on us, which was a little bit unnerving to start with, but really they don't fire at you very much either. Again, the galleons aren't that good, to be honest, either. It's just a case of just hitting enough shots on there to be able to weaken them enough to be able to get on board and defend against them. So you see here, this is where Duds is jumping on and he's getting himself in a position to go and stop them from repairing any holes. And also, try and get them away from the cannons if you can as well, so I can kind of get on with shooting them. And I hit them a few more times, and Duds is on the ship there, and just stopping them from repairing, and then they're going down. Very, very easy, very, very simple, and that's all you have to do. So then that's it. We've done that battle. We kind of got it all out of the way really, really quickly, and got that loot. And that loot was giving us the opportunity to get to grade 5, which is what we wanted. And now we were ready to be able to take on other players. A quick check of the map revealed there were 2 emissaries on the server, which meant we had 2 targets, which was great. First off, we needed to go and sell our loot, because what we needed to really do is just to get ourselves a nice baseline, so anything else was a bonus. So here you go, here is me selling the first item, so the skeleton captain's skull, followed by captain's chest, yes. And you see our emissary going up here, and me just kind of randomly selling stuff. Duds also doing it in the background, and eventually we get up to about 152,000, which is for us is a really good baseline. So that means anything else is a bonus. Okay, victim one, I mean enemy one. Let's get on with it. So the fight started pretty good. Honestly, we had probably one of the best starts we could have. Dud sent off a warning shot to tell them basically we mean business. And then we can see that we can basically turn around the corner, hit them with 2 chain shots, and the fight was over. Problem is that when Dud went to board them, this happened. You can see he jumped off and he died. I was like, great. So we had to basically repair our ship, come back in for another assault. I couldn't go on because I needed to repair the ship. They'd hit us quite a few times and it wasn't worth losing the ship over. So as I was waiting for Duz to come back, I kind of jumped away, repaired the ship, come back in, and started hitting them a few more times. Got a couple of good shots on, hit one of the guys on the cannon, stopped them from firing, and then Duds came back and then started off where he left off. And honestly, we were doing really good here. We had a lot of good shots. Their ship was in a lot of damage. Problem is, we just never really had a good chance to board, which meant the fight went on for a lot longer than we expected. Now, they did hit quite a few good shots on us as well. They weren't no slouches, but we were very much on top the whole time. And as you can see here, Duds is hitting a lot of good shots here, and we're doing a pretty good job of trying to get where we want to be, which is in a position where we finish them off. And we do finish them off eventually. As you can see here, they're now starting to sink, and that's a great victory for us. What happens here from now on is very, very interesting. So basically, we sunk the ship, we're about to get the loot, we get boarded. So I'm not too worried about this border because obviously all the skeletons and me, I'm not very good at PvP as you know, and I'm just trying to get the final kill there, and I managed to kind of deal with it. What we didn't realize is that other guy was coming, and the other guy had one of those new kegs. Yes, yeah, not great. So I jumped on desperately to try and stop them. I'm playing with my keyboard, so what I didn't realize is that I couldn't remember the button to stop it from erupting, and it blew up in my face. Not the best, not the best. And Duds wasn't impressed, let's just say. But we'd sunk, and it's a lesson learned, and that's why we have our baseline amount to keep us going throughout the day. Okay, so to reset, we decided to do the Skull of Siren Song, just to do something a little bit different, just to kind of lick our wounds a little bit after that ridiculous attack from the enemy. So when we took the quest, we found out the chest was already taken, which was interesting. So we were like, okay, let's go and get ourselves the key, so at least we've got half of it ready to go. I dug up one of those skeletons on the island, shown them the map, and this is one of the really cool features of the game that I like now, is that when you're doing these treasure hunt quests, you can use the skeletons to actually point you to where you want to go, which is brilliant, because it pointed me to somewhere I was already at. And I missed it by like half an inch, and I probably would have searched for ages to try and find that key. But there we go, got it, and I ignored the skeletons, Does that with them while I ran on the ship and put the key on. Now, what happened from here is interesting, because we saw 2 ships in the distance with the chest. Now, we thought they were in an alliance to start with, and we were kind of kept our distance to kind of keep an eye out and see what was happening. But it looked like they had transferred the chest from one ship to another, which was a bit interesting. I was like, okay, maybe because it's the stronger ship, that's probably why they're doing it. But that wasn't the case. So I sent Duds over to having a bit of an investigation just to see what's happening. But it looked like the sloop was actually being scuttled, which was a little bit weird to us. But it meant that the fight was back on. We can attack one ship. 2 ships is quite risky. So Duds went over, and he's probably committing here probably the greatest heist of Sea of Thieves history. Literally gone on the ship, picked up the chest, and walked off without even laying down a single shot or attack. They had no idea he was there, and I don't know how they didn't know he was there. I couldn't believe it. And he was like, go, 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 go. So I put a few shots in, I stopped the ship, quickly got him on the ship, and we were out of there as fast as possible. And the hunt was on. Literally, we were like, go, 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 go. And we were running, and they for some reason just had no idea he was there. I just couldn't believe it. But they chased us, and they chased us. And eventually we got to where we needed to go. I decided to jump off and go sell with the skull while Duds went and distracted them. Now, it took me quite a while to find Briggsy, to be honest. I didn't realise that she was on top of here, but eventually I managed to sell it, and that was a cool 50k, which was perfect for what we wanted to do today. So we're already up to 200k for the day, and I'm really, really happy with how we got on today. But first of all, we needed to go and sink that ship. So I jumped back in. The first thing we wanted to do is board. We made so many mistakes today where we hadn't boarded when we needed to. So I wanted to get on there and get some kills. And this is probably the best knife throw attack that I've done in God knows how long. What a shot. And I know I panicked. I don't know why. I should have just started continuing on with knife throws. But I decided to try and stab them and ended up dying. But I decided to get back on the ship, get rid of the Skelly ship, because the Skelly ship was getting in my way, and I probably just committed the greatest shot there as well, just absolutely destroyed it. What a mess. Duz decided to go over with a ridiculous boarding attempt here. I don't know what he was trying to do, but it was quite funny to watch. And they were panicking, and we managed to get a few good shots off here and just deal with them while I was waiting for Duz to come back. Another good kill there. And they were a bit of disarray, to be honest, and they were really struggling at this point to kind of deal with us. Then they just randomly disappeared. And I mean disappeared. Like we searched for probably about 15 minutes and we couldn't find them at all. Eventually, though, we managed to find them, and they were on the outpost getting an emissary flag. And I don't know how we couldn't find them, but we went over and we dealt with them basically. I just threw a load of cannonballs into them while they were still on the island before they'd even noticed. Duds had then put loads of flame bombs on them, and then they started to try and escape. And Duds put them anchor down to stop them from getting out of there. And at this point, the match was pretty much over. Let's say we got our revenge, which is what we wanted to do. And here you see they're anchored. I'm just coming in and I'm just finishing them off, putting some shots down low. Again, with a brig, just like the galleon, you want to hit as low as possible in the water, and then also stop people from repairing. So if you can get some hits on the top of the ship to try and take them out as well, that's really good. And you can see here I've done just that. And at this point, they can't repair. Duds is on the ship. I don't know what he was doing at this point. I think he was hiding. I don't know why. And they were done. And I hit them one more time, and they were sunk. And that's as simple as that. And that fight was won.